At the same time, there's a chapter in the book, and it sounds like your listeners will like this chapter, maybe the best. There's a chapter in the book called How You Play the Game While You Change the Game. And I really didn't want to write that chapter. That was the last chapter I wrote. And I really struggled with it because I feel like there's so many books out there on how to play the game. And part of what I feel like I'm saying is playing the game at what cost. But I did that chapter because to your point, I think there are ways that you can navigate in the system, that you can pick and choose. You can decide what energy you put to all things, because if you are in a structure, it's also not possible for you to stand up to everything, for you to call out everyone's behavior, you can't, like, that's not, the system doesn't allow for that either. And so there are things that you can do to have more voice. There are people who are true allies, and there's ways you can seek out sponsors and mentors and have different conversations with them. So I did include that chapter, even though it's not my favorite chapter. It seems to be everyone else's favorite chapter, but yes.
No, actually, my next question was, talking about how to play the game while you change the game, because I think that's really important, because I think especially the more senior you get, and I'm sure you would have seen that, is that people are not that they're not straight, but there's a lot of subtext going on, and people aren't going to be direct with you. So I think you have to understand the rules of the game. How do you get on with people? Maybe talking about stuff that you're not that interested in, just to be able to form connections. It's funny how you're trying to build these relationships, understand what it is that other person wants, but also I think also looking at the other person's perspective and thinking, okay, what can I do for that peer or that boss that makes them feel better to some extent?
Yeah, and I think I haven't articulated this before in conversations, but I think if your desire and you find your power from playing the game in a masterful way, like, more power to you. I'm just saying that I realized from doing some of that, that's not the game I want to play anymore. And I think the entire book and the whole conversation I'm having with women is agency, right? Is knowing that you have a choice. So what I think about when you ask me that question is, when I was earlier in my career, there used to be a lot of discussion as a woman. Do you have to read the sports section, right? So that you can come in on Monday and have conversations about football. And there was a camp of women who said yes, like they would literally watch every game and they would read all the newspapers so they could have the conversations with both their clients and the other partners on Monday. And I never did. So from the beginning, because I had no interest and I wasn't going to spend any more time doing something I didn't want to do, I didn't. And I do think that there's always been those two camps. And that's an example that I think has more history. And I think I'm saying the same thing here. Like, all of these things are ways that you can operate. And I'm okay with the women who want to read the sports paper, and even if they're not interested. I'm just saying, like, that is a conscious choice. And what is not clear to people is that you have choice around that. There are different ways of doing it. And so just be really understanding and be really active in making that choice. And then I'm fine with it, right? But that's, I think, the difference is that the system requires us to do certain things to lead. It requires certain things to be seen as successful. And I'm just saying, part of the work is the structure has to change, those definitions have to change, but we also have to know when we're playing into them and be much more thoughtful and choiceful about how we do that.